make you cry. It's going to get you all fired up. Because there's one thing, and there's a reason why I always ask Fred to do this. You have to keep that inner spark going. And without the inner spark, you got nothing.
So we're learning, some of the mechanics of running a restaurant. The X's and O's of running a restaurant, right? All the stuff that's on paper. You have to do this. You have to do that. You need to have checklists. You need to be proactive. But what it takes to get all this stuff done is not just the systems and the math that goes. Because if running a restaurant was just a math problem, we'd just plug in the numbers and profit would come out the other end, right? But we have people, right? And we have people that we have to lead and people that we have to inspire. And to be able to do that, we have to have company culture, right? And so company culture is this intangible thing that you know when you have it and you know when you don't have it. But it's really hard to put your finger on it because a lot of times it's a feeling, right? And so I want to give you some things that can help you develop your company culture. And we want to start off by making our company culture a tangible thing. How can we take this thing that's a feeling and make it tangible? And so there's a couple things that you need to be uncompromising with, okay? The first thing in your restaurant is you need to be uncompromising when it comes to cleanliness. Uncompromising. These are your standards and you are going to hold them to these high standards. And cleanliness is mostly a tangible thing. You can tell if the line is dirty, if the cables on the printer are covered in dust, the wet, oily dust, because you have deep fryers, a lot of you, right? So you have to hold them accountable to that. And there's not a whole lot of gray area, which is one of the things I like to do, the standard of that cleanliness. And what's important about that is it's foundational. It's not your entire culture, but it's foundational to your culture. Because if, a spot on my uniform or an unironed shirt, something like that, or an area that's covered in crumbs, if those little things are important, how much more important is the final dish that goes out to the guest, right? Employees today want to feel like they're part of something, like they're part of something bigger than themselves, even more than their paycheck. They want to be making a difference in this world. They want to be making a difference with their lives, and they want to be part of something that's actually making a difference. And holding them to this standard is really important. Now, here's what's going to happen. You're going to correct them, and you're going to correct them, and you're going to correct them. And you may be in a rut right now where you're going through the grind, and you don't want to, there's a light bulb out, and it's like, oh, and you see it, and you're like, I'm just going to deal with it myself. Or you see the mess, and you don't say anything because you just don't need the stress today, right? And so you look the other way. Things are unorganized, and you look the other way because you just don't want to deal with it right now. You're tired. It's a tough business. And I'm going to tell you to never, ever, ever look the other way. You are compromising the culture of your company whenever you turn your eyes away from anything that you see that's out of place. And it's going to be 100 times a day. It could be, and then after some time, it will be 80 times a day. And then it's going to be 60 times a day. And it will never, ever go away. There will never be a time where you'll be able to say, oh, they got it, right? And you're going to have to constantly correct them. Another one is timeliness. your cooks can show up 5 minutes late for a shift, and they can still get their work complete. They can still be ready, right? And this one drove me crazy when I was an employee. Bananas when people would come in late for work. But I could never really do that much about it as another employee. When they show up late for work, they are disrespecting themselves. They are disrespecting their coworkers. They're disrespecting you. And they're disrespecting the whole company in general. There's a clear line, and holding a standard to that clear line is important in developing your company culture. It's foundational to other things, because if it's important to me that you are on time for work, even though I know you can get your work done by being 5 minutes late, I'm creating a foundation for company culture so that when there's other expectations that I have, they know that you mean it. They know that you're serious about it. And what's going to happen is it's going to be over and over again. This is not okay. This is the way that we are. This is who we are. We have an identity that we have to uphold. And that takes leadership. And so you have to have people around you that help hold this up, because guess what? There's days that you'll be tired and you're not going to want to keep it going. So when you know that you're making ground on this intangible company culture thing, when you know that you're finally making a difference, that you're having an effect on your team, is when the correction happens peer to peer. Hey, that's not who we are. Hey, this area is supposed to be clean. From peer to peer within your company. When they start correcting each other peer to peer with your standards. This goes through any organization. It could be a sports team. What are your standards? Who are you? What are your core values? What do you need to live up to? And are you going to compromise them when the chips are down? Or are you going to stick to them all the time no matter what? I had an employee that worked for me. Valedictorian in her high school. And in school taking her pre-med courses because she was going to be a heart surgeon. And she would come into work, and she was better than everybody else because she was going to school to be a heart surgeon. And my talk with her was, because she was a shitty server assistant. She was shitty at her job. I don't care if she was valedictorian or taking pre-med. She was doing a terrible job. And my talk with her was that the way that she does this job is the same way that she's going to do her future job. So if she's going to be a shitty server assistant, she is going to be a shitty heart surgeon. And guess what? They don't exist. You can't be a shitty heart surgeon. There's lives on the line. So she had to develop that and make a decision, because the job is not beneath anybody. We have to take it. That's an attitude of service, not servitude. When it comes, we have to have, and if you can't, and if it doesn't fit you, then that's fine. They're welcome to go somewhere else. But the restaurant industry, for most of this room, it's your career. Most everybody here that's in this room, it's your career. A lot of the people that you're with, it's their right now job. And that's absolutely 100% okay. But it's a right now job that will prepare you for any career in any industry doing anything at all, with the customer service, the manufacturing on site, the management of product, the HR. There's so much that you can take from the restaurant industry into other careers. Number one employer besides the government also. So after my talk, her choice was to have an attitude adjustment and start taking the job more seriously, and take the job as serious as if it's her future job of where she was headed, or she wasn't going to be a part of our company. And luckily, I'm happy to say that she did choose to see that perspective. And it doesn't always work out like that, right? Sometimes they're going to be like, dude, why don't you calm down? Why are you so serious? All we're doing, this is just a stupid job, right? You don't want people like that around you. They're cancers in your company. Because guess what? It is serious. We're not curing cancer, don't get me wrong. But we have a chance to affect people's lives, to put a smile on somebody's face for the day, to have purpose in our work. It's important, but it takes you giving them enough respect to teach them and coach them. You are actually disrespecting your staff more when you look the other way when they're falling short of their potential. I have employees that work for me and they've told me this, they hated my guts when they worked for me, hated me. On the other side of it, though, came back to thank me for actually knowing that they could achieve more and do more and expecting more from them, respecting them enough to ask the very best from them. Not just treat them as another loser in my workforce. To respect them enough to hold them accountable and to have those high standards. And to get back to the time that you were at when you first opened. When things were fresh and new and this is who we were going to be and what we were going to do. Because even if you've veered off that path today, it's that much easier to get back on track, and you start with cleanliness and you start with the expectation of timeliness. Those two things are your tangible building blocks to building your culture up from there. So go back to your places, get your management team together, and keep those standards high and respect your people enough to give them the feedback that they deserve. Thank you.